On the charts, Bitcoin looks ready for a reversal because we are seeing this huge support is holding strong on the daily time frame. Yesterday we saw a lot of volatility, and that is all because we saw a lot of interesting news come out, which I will discuss with you in this video. I will also have a look at the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETF flows, and later in the video I will also have a look at the two altcoins, Bittensor TAO and XRP. So about that later in the video, so you want to watch this video all the way to the end. And in this video I'm also going to have a look at different time frames for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is showing a lot of interesting formations and also interesting price action, and we could see a huge reversal very soon. So give this video a like because it will be highly appreciated by me. And now let's dive right into the charts. So yesterday we saw some huge volatility during the course of the day because we saw some fake news coming out, and that was that Trump was considering a 90-day tariff pause excluding China. But of course this was fake news, as we all know, so this was causing the huge volatility on Bitcoin. So first we go up a little bit, then we came down, but later in the day we also saw that Bitcoin was rising actually. So this was actually looking very bullish because we came all the way from the $74,000 and we closed the day around the $80,000. So eventually it was a pretty good day for Bitcoin. But however, the CME gap is still open, so we could expect later this week that the CME gap gets closed, and that will bring Bitcoin all the way back to the $84,000. So of course this gap could also be open, and we could also see a close later, maybe in this month or maybe later in this year. But however, this CME gap is still open, so keep in mind that Bitcoin always urges to close these kind of gaps, and that of course will bring Bitcoin back to the $84,000. And another very interesting news article was coming in, and it was that the European Union proposes 25% tariffs on the US goods. So this was also having a little bit of a volatility event on the markets. So yesterday we saw this news coming in, and this was causing a little bit of volatility. So eventually the trade war is now on in the world, and also China is an interesting country to take a look at, because they are also involved in this trade war around the world. And in my latest videos and also the last month, I was discussing this huge rising wedge for Bitcoin here on a daily time frame. We finally broke down, we saw a bearish retest, and then after that you could have entered the market in a short and aim for lower prices. And then I said this lower side of this formation will be confluent with the breakdown target. And on March 29th, I already discussed this on my Twitter channel. So we broke down from this rising wedge formation, and the breakdown target was $77,000. So I already said it, so you could have been warned, and I was warning you about this potential trade. So we're now seeing that this breakdown target has been reached. So we could also see a little bit of a reversal coming in after this target has been reached. So after this bearish retest, you could have entered a perfect retest for Bitcoin in a short, and then you could have aimed for lower targets, and then your breakdown targets could have been $77,000 to take some profit. So this was a very interesting trade, and you were warned by me. And if we then have a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow, we can see that yesterday was a little bit of a bearish day. We saw almost a total outflow of $104 million, and so this is a little bit bearish. Still, the total cumulative amount of inflows in the Bitcoin ETF is still above $36 billion. And as we can see here in the graph, we can see a little bit of a decline after this huge all-time high. So that was around $41 billion. So let's see if Bitcoin can see a continuation of this bullish uptrend, and that we're, for instance, going to make a new all-time high in the coming months. And of course, if that happens, we will see more interesting price action for Bitcoin as well. And looking at the Ethereum ETF flows, we can see that yesterday was a neutral day. We didn't see any ETFs buy or sell Ethereum, so this was interesting to see. And let's see if the rest of the week can end strong for the Ethereum ETFs. And looking at the daily time frame for Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin came from this all-time high and is now in this bearish downtrend. But however, we also see that these local lows are interesting to see, and this support is holding strong. We can see multiple touch points here at this horizontal level, and yesterday we fell below it, but eventually the daily candle closes above this level, so this was actually very bullish. So let's see if Bitcoin can bounce once again, just like we saw earlier. And this the horizontal support is holding strong for now on the daily time frame, so this is looking very bullish. And if we look at another interesting chart, we can see that this horizontal level was respected, and now we can see a bullish divergence is unfolding on the daily time frame, and this is exactly the thing you want to see on the daily time frame. for a reversal. So on the chart we can see lower lows unfolding. This is on the price chart, and on the RSI chart we can see higher lows are unfolding. So this means that the selling pressure is cooling off, and that we eventually are going to see more buying pressure into the market, and that for instance going to see a pump into the market. So this of course could play out today or maybe later in the week. So yeah, this bullish divergence is something to look at on the charts. And another very interesting formation on the daily time frame is this huge falling broadening wedge. On the top side we can see a lot of touch points as resistance, and on the lower side we can see multiple touch points here as support. Eventually we are seeing this huge rejection from this top side resistance, and now we're falling back below. So of course this horizontal level is holding strong. So we can also see that this price of Bitcoin is getting squeezed into this apex, and finally we will see a breakout of this price. So we are either going to see a break to the top side or of course a break to the downside. So Bitcoin has to pick a side, and yeah, if we're going to see a break to the top side, then we can aim for higher targets, and then the top side of the formation will be confluent with the breakout target, and it will bring Bitcoin all the way back to the all-time high of around $108,000. So this could all happen in the coming days or weeks. So keep in mind that this falling wedge formation is a typical bullish bias pattern, which tends to break to the top side more often than to the downside. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is XRP, and XRP is looking very good because we are seeing this huge all-time high was unfolding, and now we're seeing this price decline. But however, this falling wedge formation is a typical bullish bias pattern, which is a typical reversal pattern. So on the top side we can see multiple touch points here as resistance, and on the lower side we can see multiple touch points as support. And eventually the price of XRP is getting squeezed into this apex, so we will most likely see bigger chances that we're going to see a break to the top side. And if we do, then this first big horizontal resistance is the first big resistance to break, and that is around the $2.80. So XRP is now looking very bearish actually, but however, keep in mind that these are the times to look for entries from XRP. So if we break out, the top side of the formation will be confluent with the breakout target, and it's confluent with the previous all-time high of around the $3.30. So but keep also in mind that this horizontal resistance is also the resistance to break for XRP. And if we have a look at another daily chart for XRP, we can see that XRP is inside of trading inside of this huge horizontal channel. And on the lower side we can see multiple touch points here as support. We can see here multiple price interactions when this support is getting reached. So currently we are at the support, so this support needs to hold in order to remain a little bit more bullish. And let's see if XRP can bounce, and that we can come all the way back to this top side resistance of this horizontal range. And then if we do, this will be the next make or break level. So we could either see a bit of a rejection, but we could also see a break above it. And that if we're going to see a break above it, I'm going to wait for a confirmation. Then I'm going to wait for this bullish retest, and then yeah, we can maybe see a bullish retest, and then we can aim for higher targets. And then we could also aim for the previous all-time high of around the $3.30. So yeah, still XRP is trading inside of this horizontal channel. So of course we don't want to fall below this level, because otherwise XRP is doomed and we will see much lower levels. And then my first big target to the downside will be around the $1.46. So for now XRP needs to hold this horizontal level, and if we don't, we will see lower levels. So yeah, let's see what happens for the XRP. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Bittensor TAO. We can see that Bittensor TAO is in this falling wedge formation. On the top side we can see multiple touch points here as resistance. On the lower side we can see multiple touch points as support. And yeah, earlier a few months ago we saw this fake out for Bittensor TAO, but now we are seeing that Bittensor TAO is still inside of this falling wedge formation, and the price of TAO is getting squeezed into this apex, and eventually the chances are getting bigger that we are going to see a break to the top side, and then a retest of the formations to test this previous resistance as support, and then we can aim for higher targets. And then the breakout target will be confluent with the top side of the formation, and it will yeah, bring the Bittensor TAO all the way back to the previous all-time high of around $725. So for now we are still inside of this formation. We can also see that this lower side support is holding strong. So let's see if this falling wedge formation can break out in the coming days or maybe in the coming weeks. And that of course will be very bullish. So I will keep you guys posted on my X account, and in the links in the description you can find the links to my social media platform. So yeah, you want to follow me there to stay up to date. And if we have a look at the weekly time frame for Bittensor TAO, we can see that this horizontal level yeah, is looking very strong. We can see multiple touch points here as support, but currently on the weekly time frame, Bittensor TAO is falling below this level. So we want to close this weekly candle above this level, and if we do, we can see a little bit more bullish price action coming in. But however, we can also see maybe that we broke down and that we are currently creating a bearish retest. So we could also see lower levels for Bittensor TAO, but keep in mind that this falling channel formation of this falling wedge formation is still in play, and eventually this is a typical bullish bias reversal pattern. So you want to watch this video, formation, and you want to keep an eye on Bittensor TAO. So I will keep you guys updated on my X channel. So again, please like this video if you think it was useful. In the description under this video you can find the links to my free Telegram group and also to my Twitter channel. Please follow me there to be updated about the markets. And with that being said, I hope you like this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.